hope you haven't been filming yet. As many of you know, I'm Amy Wasyluka. I'm running for State Senate District 2. First of all, I want to thank you all so much for having me today, and a big thank you to Ariana and all the rest of the high school Democrats for this wonderful job that you are doing, not only in organizing this event, but for your tireless work in our community to engage others in the political process and to draw attention to the important work that is yet to be done in Alabama. I also want to thank each and every one of you that is here today. It is truly inspiring to see this level of political involvement and interest among high school Democrats. 18 years ago, I was in your shoes, if you can imagine. It was that long. I was a junior in high school, and Al Gore had just lost the 2000 election to George Bush, despite winning the popular vote. I can still remember how unfair that outcome felt at the time, and I also sensed a swell of renewed energy and urgency among my Democratic friends, and I knew that I wanted to be involved somehow. Although I was too young to vote, I signed up for a debate class the next year and began thinking about majoring in political science at college. Unfortunately, my plans were put on hold and my debate class canceled when I was diagnosed with lymphoma not 2 months later. By the time I recovered and enrolled in college, that political passion that I had sensed after the 2000 election had died down. And by that time, there were only a handful of Democrats in the Auburn College Democrats. When 2016 happened, we witnessed yet another election where a highly qualified and experienced candidate lost the presidency despite winning the popular vote. Once again, following that election, there has been a surge of political engagement. But unlike the relatively small swell of 2000, the political engagement since 2016 has not quelled. It has not quieted. It has gained momentum, and it has the potential to turn into a wave in 2018. But it won't do it alone. We have a responsibility to capitalize on it because too much is at stake. Our futures are at stake, and your futures, quite frankly, are at stake. I was blessed, like many of you, to have gone to a really good junior high and high school. But I'm tired of Alabama and frankly America being a place where you live has such a big impact on the quality of education or on the quality of the education of your children. It is wrong that students who live in Northeast Huntsville or Northeast Birmingham do not have the same basic opportunities for success that students in Madison and Southeast Huntsville do. This happens because many schools in our state education system have been left with failing grades, while the reason for those grades have not been addressed appropriately by our legislature. It happens because our state consistently asks our public school educators to do more with less. We're failing to adequately raise their pay and keep up with the rising cost of their education and standards of living. Consider for a moment one or two of your favorite teachers. I know we all have them. I had one, she taught English, and she wore the best high heels every day. Okay, so do y'all have that teacher pictured in your mind? All right. Consider all the time that that teacher puts into their classes to give you the best experience every day. Consider all the time that they put individually into your success, not just in school and in the classroom, but out of it as well. And consider that although teachers are among the lowest paid professions, they are often asked to provide many of their own supplies out of their own pockets, complicating the ability of teachers to do their jobs and to help students learn while meeting their own necessary expenses. This happens because our state has allowed funding for public education to be funneled away from our schools at a time when we are already so very, very underfunded. And because our state prioritizes vouchers to send a few children to private schools, even unregulated private schools, more than they do improving the public education system for everyone. The difference in schools and resources creates an inequality of opportunity and creates a situation where students in rural or urban areas have many less opportunities than students from suburban ones. These decreased opportunities means fewer of these students will graduate high school or obtain 2 or 4-year or even advanced college degrees, and it slows down the traditional progress that we see across generations. Sorry, guys. Even assuming that our students are able to go to college, our families wrestle with how to afford the enormous and ever-increasing cost of tuition, to send our high schoolers off to college, and our college students are often left with crushing student loan debt. And we are sending these students, even after they graduate, out into the world where the top 1% of our country have captured 100% of our country's economic growth since the 1980s. But there is more than enough reason to hope. The many issues confronting us today can seem daunting, but they are dwarfed in comparison to our potential. We have seen the evidence of what we can do when we are involved in the activism that we have seen over the past year, which culminated in the recent election of Doug Jones. It started with letter writing and postcard writing campaigns to congressional representatives, and a massive women's march which embraced more issues than we can count and which engulfed cities across not only our great nation but the world. In this upswell, we've seen the Democratic Party pick up congressional and legislative seats across the country and challenge for seats which previously were thought to be unchallengeable.
Yeah.
Including right here in Alabama. Make no mistake, electing Judge Doug Jones, sorry guys, took a lot of work. It truly took the tireless dedication of countless volunteers like you, especially our countless young volunteers. We could not have done it without your efforts. It also took increased voter turnout in Madison and Limestone County on a scale that we haven't seen. And it could not have been achieved without the absolutely crucial support of the African American community, who showed up to vote in unprecedented numbers. Since this important victory, we've seen a second installation of the Women's March, which is now a march to the polls, where we saw one of your own give an inspiring speech and call to action. The swell continues to grow, and now, in just over a year since 2016, we have not quieted. We have sent a message that it is no longer acceptable for candidates to be elected on hyperbole and divisiveness alone, and that we will insist on candidates with defined plans to improve the kitchen table issues that touch our lives and those of our children every day. Along the way, we have learned some important lessons. We have learned that when young people get involved and get motivated, the voters will sit up and listen. And most importantly, they will get out to vote. We have learned that we can build on the momentum that we have in 2018 to create the Alabama and the America that we want to see. One where every person is treated with dignity and respect. One where a person's future is not dependent on their place of birth or the bank account that they start off with. We can get people elected who share the same values that we believe in. People who support bringing a lottery to Alabama to assist funding opportunity for higher education for all students. Who recognize the importance of public education and fight to invest in it like the valuable resource that it is. And who invest in small business and bring opportunity to our hometowns so that good jobs will be available for you and so that you can stay here should you choose to and put down roots and be successful. That is the Alabama I dream of and that I want for you and for my own daughter. An Alabama that truly puts people over party. However, to quote a well-known senator from Vermont, change will not happen without political participation. That is my challenge to you. Find an issue, or find a candidate, that you care about, and then find a way to capitalize on the opportunity that we have been given going into 2018. Get involved, canvass, phone bank, register people to vote. Out of your participation, you can produce change. Not division, not discord, but hope, progress, respect, and opportunity for all of Alabama. There are 269 days from now until the midterm elections. As we prepare for the midterms, remember all of the amazing things that we have accomplished already since 2016, because that is who we are, and that is what we can do. That is what is possible if we fight for it. Look at all we have done in 1 year, and imagine what we can do in 2. I know that I am ready to fight for it, and with your help, we will take another step towards building the Alabama of our dreams in 2018. I'm Amy Wasyluka. I'm running for State Senate District 2. Thank you all so much.